Hello, everybody. My name's John Lavin. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm an SNSD, and I've had the privilege of working with Primerica for 39 years. And when I first got in the business, the most important area of the business for me is I needed to learn how to present. I was 23 years old. I was single. I really didn't have a market, and my only hope was to get good enough at presenting that people could understand where I was coming from and that I could help people with my ability and my skill to communicate the ideas of Primerica. And so we've worked on presentations for years. I've been privileged to be involved in the design and of a lot of presentations. And last year we worked on the ultimate opportunity meeting, or the ultimate business overview. And now what we've done is I started working with those slides and the PowerPoints, and we realized, man, we could shorten this up, and we could create an interview, and we could create a kitchen table based on that business overview that we did, that we could teach a lot of people to do it. And my whole goal was, how simple could we make this? How duplicatable could we become? How quickly could we transfer our knowledge to someone where they could start to communicate on their own without us there? And I've focused my entire career on duplication and transferable techniques. So we came up with two. The first one I'm going to share with you is the ultimate interview. And a lot of our teammates now, including myself, this is the presentation I do. I do this at kitchen tables. Although I don't do a lot of kitchen tables anymore, this is the one I do at a kitchen table. I do interviews. I do it at a coffee shop. I've been going around to a lot of our organizations, and people say, hey, will you do a business overview for our team? And I'll do this little presentation in a meeting. So I'm using this everywhere. Now the second one that we're going to do, the kitchen table, is more expanded. Basically, what we wanted to make sure in that presentation is that we got a lot of the financial concepts across, a lot of the teaching, a lot of the principles that are in the How Money Works book are in that presentation, and that's more of your money seminar, your education piece. You're there to help a family with their finances, and you're wanting to make sure you communicate all the ideas. So I'm going to go through both. I'm going to share with you really the main points that you need to communicate and get good at. And I hope this really helps you. I'm really excited about these presentations, and I have a ball doing them because they're short, they're fast, they're to the point, and I cover everything. Now with the interview, what's so exciting is I'm always looking to recruit a recruiter. I'm always interested in bringing somebody on board who wants, maybe they want to be a financial coach, they want to get all their licenses, they love what we do for families, but ultimately they want to be a business owner. And this presentation is geared to lean in that direction and to help you communicate the business opportunity. So as we get started, you're going to see the first page here is our home office. Now I leave that up, it's on my screen. This is a PowerPoint presentation. It's designed for you to click the button and speak about the next subject. It's kind of hard to mess it up because as long as you're clicking the buttons and reading what's on the screen, you're telling the story. And so when we do an interview, obviously, we're going to ask our qualifying questions. We're going to ask people about what they do, how long they've done that, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, how much money they would love to earn if they could, what dreams and goals they've got that they thought they might have accomplished by now, but they haven't, but those goals and dreams are still really important to them. We're going to get into all that, and then ultimately, I'm going to segue into the presentation and let them know that we have a home office in Duluth, Georgia. And there's over 2,000 employees there to help service our business. And it's a credibility piece. I mean, 2,000 people that are there to help. We're in the marketing out here in the field. Our home office supports us, and it's absolutely amazing. And then I open up with the cash flow quadrant. I've always enjoyed asking people the simple question. Have you heard of Robert Kiyosaki? Some have, some haven't. Have you heard of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad? Or the cash flow quadrant? Well, Robert Kiyosaki said that there's 4 ways to make money. And he said the first way to make money is as an employee. And most of us, we know that in schools, they teach us to go to school and get good grades and get a degree and get a good job. And that's, employees pretty well know what they're going to make. So when I go through the cash flow quadrant, I want to make sure that we define really 2 sides of it. One is the employee and the self-employed. And both of those positions require you to go to work to get paid. So my main point there, and look, there's a million ways to do the cash flow quadrant. I'm not here today to show you exactly what to do. I just want to make sure you understand when you're communicating these pages, what are the key points? Well, on the left side of this quadrant, you have to exchange your time for money. In other words, you go to work and you get paid if you're an employee, and if you're self-employed and you don't go to work, you don't get paid. We call that active. So you've got to actively do the work to get paid. That's the left side of the quadrant. Then there's the right side of the quadrant. And the right side of the quadrant is where the business owner and where the investor live. And the business owner is the person they've hired and trained employees to run their business. Question I always ask, if the employees are running the business owner's business and it runs without the business owner, what can the business owner be doing? And the answer that we get back is anything they want, right? They could open another business, they could travel, they could golf, they could be at the kids' sports. They've got the freedom to make those choices because they have a business that's paying them when they're not there. The second is the investor. That's the ultimate dream. That's where you have assets. And I always use this. That's where you've built up real estate or cash or mutual funds or stocks or bonds. But basically, you've created an asset that generates income whether you're working or not. And that's the investor. And that's where the residual or income comes in. That's where our income comes in when we're not working. And so we want to make sure we make the distinction that on the left side, you have to exchange time for money. But on the right side, you've got money coming in whether you're working or you're not. Now, what we did at the bottom of the page, you'll notice we created a question. If you had a choice, which two ways to earn income would appeal to you most? And most people, if you ask them that and you've described it properly, are going to tell you, I would want to be on the right side of the quadrant. I want to be where I could build something that pays me whether I'm working or not, okay? The next, when you click the button, the next question comes up and it asks, well, where are most people? And the answer is generally top left. They're in the employee quadrant. And then the next question is really, to me, what starts the process of the interview. Because I want people to start thinking, well, what stops people from making the transition? If most everybody's on the left and they want to be on the right, everybody's having to trade time for money, but everybody would like to have time, money, and freedom. What stops them? And the question is, are there legitimate reasons that stop them? So it says that now on the next page that we have found that there are legitimate reasons that stop them, and there are 5 of them that we've discovered. And then I turn that over to whoever I'm interviewing, and I ask them, so what are the reasons people are stopped from getting to the right side? What stops them? And ultimately, they give the answers. So generally, everybody knows it's money. They don't have the money, they don't have the capital, they don't have the time, they don't have the knowledge, they don't know how to do it, they're not trained on how to do that. It's risky because most businesses fail, and they have a fear of failure. So we've listed them all here. All 5 are now up on the screen. Now, when I do my interview, I usually let them guess, and I'm trying to pull it out of them, and they might say fear, they're scared. I say, there's 4 more. Give me another. That's one of them. And I let them guess for a while, and then I bring them up one at a time. And I let them see that the same things that have stopped you or people that you know from going to business stops us all. So what have we done at Primerica? Primerica has removed the barriers to entry. All we've done is simplified the way for you to be able to get into business for yourself, but not by yourself. So now we're going to answer each of these. So I know that if I can overcome every objection of the 5 reasons people don't go in business, now we've got momentum in our presentation. And ultimately, my question at the end of this page is going to be, if we could show you, if you believed that what we did had real value, is this something you'd be open to? Would you be interested in really pursuing it if you really believed that what we did had value? And that's going to let me transition into who we are as a company and what we do for families. But I'm going to answer every one of these 5, and the first one, the big one, the elephant in the room, and most people wait to the end to do it, and I just started dealing with the money up front. So for most people, the biggest problem is the money. It takes a big investment. And what we did in the PowerPoint is we moved right into the slides now that explain the $99 and the $25 a month. So I'll just explain to them. Everybody here goes in business for themselves. It's $99 to get started. It's $25 a month, and that gives you your entire technology package. And then I walk them through piece by piece very quickly what the $99 covers. The $99 covers your insurance license. The $25 a month gives you your technology package, right? You've got all your support tools. You've got all of your computer programs that you need. You're able to track your business. You've got videos. You've got audios. I explain the value of that learning tool. And then I explain that we also pay for your securities license. So in this process of $99 and then $25 a month, and I always mention that $25 a month is a month-to-month commitment. If you stop working with us, you could stop the $25 a month. You could work with us and not pay the $25 a month, but you won't have the tools. Everything we do is available to you on a handheld device. We are way advanced in the area of technology, and we make it very easy for you to do business wherever you are. So I sell the technology package, I sell the idea of the support, and most importantly, I want them to know you're going to get both your insurance and your securities license, and those are your licenses. Now, what does that mean, those are your licenses? What that means is, if for whatever reason it didn't work out at Primerica, you have obtained valuable licenses, and I cover that. So I cover the money. That's not an issue, and I've said to people, if $99 is a problem for you, then that's your sign that you should do this. And by the way, you're going to have to work that with your personality. I can get away with that. Some of you might say that in a way where people would be offended, so be careful with that. But think about it really. If someone's been working for 20 or 30 years, and they don't have, or 10 years, or they're 25 years old, and they can't put their hands on $99, they should be working with us because something they're doing isn't working. So we cover that, and then the second area is time. And I let them know this is flexible. You work your own hours. This is not punch a clock. The next area is lack of knowledge. We only get paid when you do. So we have every incentive to train you. And we've been teaching and training people to do this business for 40 years. I've been 39 years doing it. But Primerica, we have a 40-year track record, 43-year track record of developing people. And then the risk. I always say there's really no risk. Because we go to school and we get math and we get science and we get English and we get history. But have you ever had a class in money and personal finance? Well, here you're going to get these valuable licenses and you're going to learn about money and personal finance. So worst case scenario, you're going to leave Primerica with a knowledge and an understanding of money and finance and valuable licenses. And then the last is the fear of failure. And here's what's great. We're not asking you to quit your job. We're saying give this a try, and you know, everything new is a little scary, but I can tell you we're going to be right there with you. We're going to take you by the hand. We're going to train you. We're going to work with you, and you're going to, as you learn this, your fear is going to go away. As you build competency, you're going to build confidence, and the fear will go away. So we remove those barriers. So hey, if you agreed that what we did had real value, is this something that you think you'd be interested in? And I get some confirmation there, all right? And then I move on. So let me tell you about Primerica. The first thing, and I go through the slide that explains who Primerica is. And this is where we talk about 126,000 licensed agents. We're publicly traded on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol PRI. We've been in business since 1977. We've got 5 million insurance clients. We've got 2 million investment clients. So we're not, you know, this is not an experiment. We're a big company. We've been doing this for a long time. And if you want to do more research into us, you can go on, type in PRI, and you can learn all about our company because we're publicly traded. So, okay, and then you have your credibility page. And the most important part about this page is what it says at the end. It says, all of this has been done without any national TV or radio advertising. So how did we get this big with no TV or radio advertising? How do you think we do our business? And they'll say word of mouth. We are word of mouth. We're a warm market company. We're friends telling friends. We're new associates excited about the concepts that we teach, telling other friends about the concepts that we teach. So we've done all of this without any advertising. Now, a lot of the companies that we do business with, they advertise. And so I bring up the next slide that has Primerica in the middle. We're the marketing organization. And then they're able to see all of the different companies that we do business with. And I hit these quick. You know, I want to hit the highlights so they quickly have an idea. This is a big deal. You would be like literally a one-stop financial supermarket that makes a house call. I mean, we're in the 401k space. We're in the annuity space. We have managed accounts. We have many of the biggest mutual fund companies. We have a legal product. We have an ID theft product. We've got long-term care. We've got auto and home. We've got home security. And the only product really that's listed on this whole wheel that we manufacture is the life insurance. And that's our specialty, is that area of life insurance, which is such a mystery for so many people. But have you heard of some of these companies before? Which ones do you know? So it's, once again, that page is a massive credibility page, and it quickly lets you let someone know we're in a lot of businesses. Now, you're going to see, as I transition, I'm only going to cover really two areas today with somebody. I'm going to cover insurance, and I'm going to cover investments. I'm going to cover dying too soon, and I'm going to cover living long. I'm going to cover how much insurance is needed, and we're going to cover how much money do you need at retirement. But we've already let people know we deal in a lot of areas. So we're going to keep it very simple, and it's really pretty soft from here. The presentation moves. Our mission statement is to help families earn more income, become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent. Now, I'll ask people, I'll point to earn more income, and I'll say, how many families in America today need to earn more income? How many people who love their families want to properly protect their families? How many people do you know that would love to have no debt? How many people do you know that would love to someday have enough money where they don't have to work anymore? So how many people need what we do? And I want to establish right there that most everybody over the age of 18 needs what we do. So it's great. You know, they say in business, find a need and fill the need. Well, people need what we do. So not only are we a warm market company, we're a company where you could pretty much go out of our door today and talk to any human being, and they're probably going to need one of our services. All we've got to do is teach you to be good enough to communicate it. So we've got to ask ourselves the question, why are people having so many financial challenges, right? And if you look at it, the reason is that people, they don't get a financial education. We talked about that, right? They don't have a financial game plan, and they don't have a financial coach. And as a result of not having, knowing what to do, having a plan or a coach, they face a lot of serious challenges. And so Main Street America faces a lot of challenges. And then we bring up the stats. Here's the financial challenges. And you can go through, I go through each of these fast. You know, I talk about people living paycheck to paycheck. The average family's got less than $1,000 in savings. Credit card debts average at over $15,000. Nearly half of the U.S. households don't have enough life insurance. And I might right there ask somebody, have you ever bought life insurance before? Have you ever really tried to read it and understand it? Well, most people that own life insurance either they don't have enough, or they've got the wrong kind, or they're paying too much, or they only have what's available through work, right? And so we deal with that. And then more than half the workers have less than $25,000 saved. Now, this is where you have to understand when the questions are written on the screen, please read them. And so it says, so how real and serious are these problems? And I'll wait till they tell me, well, very real and very serious. I don't keep moving. I wait till they acknowledge it. And if they don't answer, well, how real and serious are these problems? And then here's what's even more important. What company do you know that's helping Main Street families solve these problems? Other than Primerica, what company's helping families solve these problems? So notice what I did there. I said, so I'm going to already make the assumption that they're going to figure out that's what we do. So I'm just going to answer that for them. And so here's how we solve it. Here's what we do. They say people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And our solution is something called a financial needs analysis. And we've simplified this page so you can get right to the point. That financial needs analysis kind of looks at where you are currently, where you want to go financially in the future, what your goals are, and maps out how to get there. And then we go in and we go, it's like a financial GPS. And it answers a lot of important questions. And what I love about the financial needs analysis is that it made me look very smart and knowledgeable before I was. This is an amazing tool that elevates you in the marketplace and gives you major value. We don't charge a fee for this. A lot of the companies that do this charge their clients for these plans. This is a complimentary service, and it answers a lot of questions. So one of the questions it answers is this one right here that says, do you know your financial independence number? And when I ask that, I get, that's not a normal phrase. People don't know what that is generally. And I'll ask, I say, well, what do you think that means? Do you know your financial independence number? And they give me all my debt freedom day. They'll give me all different kind of answers, but they rarely give me the answers. Then what I'll do is I'll show them, here's the answer. Your financial independence number is the amount of money you need to live, you need to accumulate so that you can live off that money for the rest of your life and never have to go back to work. All right? And we call that your financial independence number, or your FIN. So let's use an example. Now, what I do is I go through a very simple example. Let's assume you wanted to have $30,000 at retirement today. Let's say you were retiring right now. You wanted $2,500 a month, $30,000 a year, and you were going to retire now. The question is, how much money would you need to accumulate to give you that income? Well, here's the challenge. You're not retiring today. Maybe you're retiring in 30 years. So with inflation, what would you need to have? And the answer is $73,000. You need $73,000 30 years from now to buy what $30,000 buys today. Are you with me on that? I want to make sure once I start talking about numbers and talking about inflation and 30, you need 73. If someone's going to fog out on you, they're going to fog out on you right there. And you can't afford for that to happen. You must communicate with people where you know that they're getting this, that, yeah, I want to retire on 30 grand, which is no great retirement, but that's going to be 73 grand based on past inflation rates. So then the question, so we load all that into the computer. We load the financial needs analysis and we say, okay, I want to retire with $30,000 in today's dollars, but we want to do that in 30 years with 3% inflation rate. What's my FIN? And then it pops up. That's $1,080,000. That's what you would need to accumulate enough money to live off that money for the rest of your life and never have to go back to work. So the next question is, if I'm starting with zero, John, how much would I need to save and what kind of returns would I need to get in order to have my $1,080,000? And so the computer is going to generate the answer, and it's going to give you, it says $585 a month, and you're going to need that for 30 years, and you're to save that for 30 years, and you're going to need to average 9%. Now, that raises two questions. I answer those questions before they're raised. So the first one is, where in the heck am I getting $585 a month? And what I want you to know is if you come to work with us and I can help you make $1,000 a month, if you took $585 of that and saved that for 30 years at 9%, you'd have your $1,000,000. That's one answer. The other answer is we're going to start looking in your budget and looking in the client's budget to see if we can find the money. A lot of times people are spending money in the wrong places, so we're going to look to try to find the money. The next question is, where am I going to get 9%? We all know you can't get 9%, all right? There's nothing that pays 9%. But the S&P 500 stock index has averaged in excess of 9% over the last 40 years. So average means what? Up and down, okay? So we're not saying you're getting 9%, but we do have investments that have averaged 9% over time, okay? And so I may even add in there, look, when you deposit your money in a bank, basically, they're using your money. What are they doing with it? And I want to make sure they get that, hey, banks, insurance companies, they use our money to make money. All right? So we're going to show you how to do it. We're going to show you the formula. But here's the real question. And in the bottom, whenever there's a question on the bottom of the page and it's in red, it's to be read, okay? And it says right there, it says, how important is it for you to know your financial independence number? And then I ask them, okay, they go, I say, well, how many people do you know right now that think that even know what one is? How many of your friends and family, people, coworkers, do you think would benefit by knowing their financial independence number? So how would they find out about such a thing if we don't go tell them about it? And so that's why we're able to get so many referrals. When we're helping you learn this business, we're going to get you a lot of referrals because your friends and family, when they see this, are going to realize everybody needs to see this. And then I move on. The next area, so that's the FIN. Another area we work in is in the area of insurance, life insurance. So here's a question. What's the purpose of life insurance? And I let them tell me. I say, well, I'm going to give you a little story. Maybe this will help you understand what I think a good way to understand the purpose of life insurance. Let's say you had a toaster in your kitchen, and on the 1st and 15th of every month, $2,000 popped up out of that toaster. So the first question is, would you like the toaster? And what you'll notice is the script is on the page. So would you like the toaster? Yes. Would you insure it? Well, yeah. okay? Well, unfortunately, there's no such toaster. But basically, we're the money machines for our families. So if it makes sense to insure an imaginary toaster, would it make sense to insure your income? And folks, that's written right there. And that's sometimes the first time anybody's ever realized the purpose of life insurance. So, for example, we have a husband and wife and their daughter. They're making $3,500 a month each, or $7,000 a month. And then we list what they're spending their money on. And they're making $7,000 and they're spending $7,000 on mortgage, cars, insurance, and we go through that. Now, here's the question. If the husband died prematurely and that $3,500 of income was gone, what happens? If this happens, what does this family lose? And you'll notice it's at the bottom of the page, and what would the family lose? And people will tell you, well, they'll lose everything. Would they possibly have to move, new schools? I mean, now they have $3,500 coming in with $7,000 of bills. Is that a problem? Okay, well, what if, and then you read the next line, what if they had a plan to replace that income? That would be the purpose of life insurance. So now you buy life insurance that in the event that one of the breadwinners dies prematurely, that there's enough money in place to pay that monthly income until at least the children are grown and out on their own, okay? And then from there, I just basically explain our whole system has been built on the theory of decreasing responsibility. And I'm not going to go through the whole theory with you all right now, but I want to make a couple points with you on it. One is the theory is designed to make sure that in the early years you've got a lot of coverage. When you've got young kids and debts and a mortgage and lost income would devastate the family, that's when you need a lot of coverage. And then as you get older, your needs for money, accumulating money for retirement, go up because now the kids are grown, the debts are low, the mortgage is paid, and you need money to live on. And I always ask the question, if you had a lot of money at retirement, $500,000 or $1 million and no insurance, and you died. So you got $1 million, no insurance, you die, what's the family get? They get the $1 million. Do they care where it comes from? Of course not. But when you're young, you may need the coverage. So basically, our whole goal is that we're going to teach you how to rent a pile of money, to buy a pile of money with term insurance until you've accumulated your own pile of money. And once you've got your own pile of money, you don't need the insurance anymore. And at the bottom, the last statement says, what life insurance company do you know that teaches people how to eliminate the need for life insurance? And they go, well, no. Well, the reason for that is we do both sides. We do the protection and we do the savings and investing, okay? So ultimately, all right, so let me give you an example of how you'd be helping a family. If you worked with us, the kind of work we do. So you meet with the family. They agree they want to do a written plan. They don't know their financial independence number. They don't know their income protection number. They don't know their debt freedom date. Maybe they want to send kids to college. And what we'll do is we'll go visit with the family, and then we'll get some information to do the financial needs analysis and come back. And now what I'm presenting is the solution. So now we've got all the information. We know where they are. We know what they're spending. We know what protection they have or they don't have. And now we're coming back and showing them our plan. So I want you to think for a moment as I show you this. So this is what I'm communicating to the person I'm recruiting. I want you to think for a minute that we went to see your brother and sister. And when we came back, this is the solution we're presenting. And I want you to ask yourself a couple questions as we show this to them. One is, how would they feel about me if I did this for them? Number one. Number two, how would I feel about me if I could do this for somebody, right? And then the last question is going to be, out of 10 people, if I showed this to them, how many would switch? All right, so here's the scenario. We went and met with them. Before the F&A, they had $100,000 of insurance on each. They were paying $225 a month for that. And this type of life insurance is called cash value insurance. And this is an example of something called whole life. Now, in this presentation, up to this point, we've not really discussed whole life versus term. But this is your chance to do that. And you're going to have to make a decision of how deep you want to go on this subject right now. So if I'm dealing with a young person and they've never bought life insurance before, I'm not covering it in too much depth right now. I'll do that later. If I'm dealing with somebody and I found out they have whole life, I'm going to take some time right now to blitz this thing, okay? But almost every time I'm going to quickly blitz it, and I'll just show you how I do it. So they got $100,000 each. They're paying $225 a month, and this type of plan takes insurance and savings, bundles them together in one contract. And notice what I did. Takes insurance and savings and bundles them together in one contract. okay? And in this contract, you've got protection, and part of your money goes to protection, and part of your money goes into savings. The hard thing is it's hard to determine what goes where. Well, in this particular type of policy, the savings builds very slowly. There's usually no cash in the first few years. It earns about 1% to 3% interest. You need to borrow your own money out of that thing, usually at around 5% to 8%, and the cash value is part of the death benefit if you die. So in this plan, John and Mary each have $100,000, and they got $76,000 in cash value at age 65. And if at age 65, John and Mary died in a car wreck, how much do you think the family should get? And I'll wait for the answer. The main point I want somebody I'm interviewing to get is that the cash value, that $76,000, is part of the death benefit. And I'll ask them, how many clients do you think that own this actually understand that the savings is part of the death benefit, okay? So what we did is we went in and we found out they needed a lot more coverage. So we wrote them for $250,000 each, a 30-year term for $80 a month. So the premium of $80 and the protection of $500,000, $250,000 on each, is level for 30 years guaranteed. So it's $80 a month, which is $225 a month less, which frees up, as you can see there, $145 a month is freed up. So now what we're doing is we're buying the insurance and we're saving the money separately. So we're unbundling, we're buying term, and we're investing the difference. So if you were just looking, here's a question I ask. If you were showing this to somebody and you asked them this question, you said, look, if you wanted to protect your loved ones and you could buy $200,000 for $225,000, or you could buy $500,000 for $80 a month, which one would you want? Here's the next question. How good of a salesperson do I have to be to convince somebody that $500 is better than $200 for $145 a month less? So I want them to understand this is an education process. This is not some slick sales deal. You just have to be able to communicate to people, right? So you can see that. The next piece of the puzzle is the investments. So now they had $20,000 in an IRA at the bank. It was making about 1.5%. They were saving $105 a month, and that was going to grow by age 65 to $79,000. What we did is we showed them how to roll that $20,000 into an IRA mutual fund. Remember, we're going to sponsor you to get your securities license. This is in the interview. So you're going to be able to now invest the difference. And now instead of saving $105 a month, you're going to be able to save $250 a month because we saved you money on your life insurance. We saved you $145 a month there. We saved you another $105 on that you were already saving. So that $250 a month, if you invest that every month and you average 6%, which is less than what the funds have averaged, you'd have $372,000. And if you average 9%, you'd have $755,000. So let me ask you a question. If you showed this A-B example to 10 families, how many out of the 10 do you think would switch? Now, they go 10, 12, 11, and here's what I always say. Well, most do. Most do. But let's just look at some examples here for a minute. Let's assume that you were a district leader with our company, brand new, just licensed now and trained. Maybe you did it fast. We've got a special program. I'll talk to you about that. But let's say you're a district leader now, and you went out and helped John and Mary with the example that I just showed you, $80 a month. You would earn $442 with just your life insurance license. Now, if you had a securities license, you'd earn more, but right now we're just assuming you're just trained, you're out $442, right? If you help 2 families a month, you'd make $884 a month part-time. If you help 3 families in a month with just 1 license and none of the other products that we market, you'd make $1,326. So let me ask you a question. How would it feel to make $1,326 part-time working a flexible schedule when you want helping families dramatically change their life with their insurance? How would you feel about that? Okay? What would you do with that money? I'm curious. And you could start to talk to them about their dreams and goals. The next scenario here is now that I want you to understand what I just shared with you, that's kind of the self-employed financial coach side of our business. Now I want to spend a few minutes with you on the real opportunity, the opportunity that I saw, the opportunity to build a business of your own. And the greatest example I could use would be real estate. Now, you all are familiar with the example, so I go through the real estate story with them, and I talk to them about the broker. And basically the broker goes out. If the broker listed and sold the home, they'd make $6,000 on a $100,000 home. But most brokers focus on licensing and training agents. So if they trained an agent and the agent went and helped the family, the agent would get roughly half the commission and the broker would get an override or the other half of the commission. So the agent would make $3,000 and the broker would make $3,000. So here's the question. Does the broker have an incentive for the agent to make money? Yes, they do. How much money? A lot of money. What if the agent made $10,000? How much would the broker make? $10,000. So all the brokers want to do is recruit, train, and develop people to be successful selling homes. Now, if you're an agent and you want to make more money, here's the question you must learn to ask. If you're an agent and you want to earn more money, there's only one way to make more money as an agent. Now, I said the word agent like 3 times because I want them to get the answer. As an agent, how do you make more money? And people will say, you got to become a broker. No, you're an agent. You're an agent. How do you make more money as an agent? Sell more homes. Okay? Now, if you're a broker, how do you make more money? And they all have more agents. So in this example, if the broker had 5 agents and they each helped one family, that's 3,000 times 5. The broker would have made $15,000 in overrides and they didn't sell one home. So which would you rather be in this scenario? Would you rather be the agent who has to exchange time for money and do all the work? Or would you rather be the broker who recruited and trained and developed agents who were successful and now you get paid off the business that you've built? Which would you rather be? And they always say, well, I'd rather be the broker. Say, well, that's the biggest problem in real estate is they've got a problem with their system. The good agents want to leave and become a broker. And so when an agent gets really good at the business, they say, I really like John, he really helped me, but I want to have my own deal. I want my own business. And they leave and become a broker. And so I always make a joke there. I said, so what happens to the original broker when the agent leaves and becomes a broker? They become broker. That's where they got the name. That's where they got the name broker. But here's the reality of that. Once that agent leaves, the original broker no longer gets paid on what they do. So what incentive did that broker have to recruit, train, and develop the agent to know everything about their business? They had no incentive, 0 incentive. That's what was broken about that system that we had to fix. And so we fixed that with the RVP model. So in our system, you move through the system by recruiting and training and developing other people. Eventually, you move from district to division, and now you're a regional leader. And when you've developed a team and you've earned your promotion to regional vice president, you can go out and become a vice president. But what happens once you go out and become a vice president, you leave behind a group of agents that you've trained so that your broker, your RVP, we call them, doesn't have to start over. So you give a small team to your RVP, you now become a vice president, and when you promote vice presidents, what do they do for you? They leave a small team for you. So in our business, you can build a business that you're not forever having to go out and sit at kitchen tables for the rest of your life. Because most people that build businesses always are training and developing their best people to leave. And our best people, we want them to become regional vice presidents, okay? And then you receive a recurring income stream off those regional vice presidents for the rest of your life. So you've got an incentive to develop people like better than you. So here's a real quick example of how we get paid. Now, I love this page. I'm so excited. This is really a snapshot of what you would get paid. Now, this is really important you do this right. So let's kind of look at this thing. Here's how we get paid. On that $80 a month transaction that you saw, if you were a district leader, I showed you earlier, you'd make $442. You could see that there. Now, here's the question. If you earned $400 every time you helped a family like John and Mary's, how many families would you want to help this month? And you wait for it, and I get all 4, 8, 10, as many as I could. Let's just say you helped a family a week. If you helped a family a week, you'd earn approximately how much? And they'll say $1,600. Exactly. Would that be great part-time income? That's just one product, okay? But let's put the shoe on the other foot. Let's say for a minute that you're the vice president. Now, whoever I'm sitting with, I just say, you're the vice president. I'm the district leader, okay? And I go out and help a family. And when I went out and helped the family, you got paid an override. You can see that there are $530 when I helped a family. So if I went out and helped 4 families and you made $530 each time, that's approximately how much? It's about $2,000, right? You made $2,000 that month from the work that I did because you recruited, you trained me, and you developed me. You got that? Well, what if you had 10 of me? How much would you make? Exactly. You'd make 20, and I wait. You'd make $20,000 if you had 10 people who help 4 families each. Those are the numbers. And by the way, and I use our Financial Independence Council book right there. I say that's why this book is filled with people, and I hold it up. It's filled with people who make in excess of $100,000 a year. And that's because of our system of developing leaders, our system of recruiting and training and developing people to own their own business. Okay? So let's take a look at this thing. If you were a vice president and you were just helping a couple families yourself and you had a small team helping 4 to 6 clients, here's an example where you'd be earning $51,000 in this example. Helping a handful of clients, less than 10 clients. Let's go a little bit further. And let's say you were still out there recruiting and training people, and you were helping 2 life clients from the example we saw earlier, and you were helping maybe doing 2 investments, and you had a team of regional leaders that was helping 10 clients with their insurance and 5 investments. You're making about $100,000 a year. You'd have this $100,000 ring. Your picture would be in the book, and you'd be on your way to building something very special for your family if you did that. So here's what I need you to know. We're incented to promote vice presidents. In this interview, I want them to get that I get paid to train and teach you how to be successful. And I want them to get that they will get paid in direct proportion to the number of people they help learn this business. Now, they could do it part-time in sales. You'll see that in a minute. But I want to focus them on being on that right side of that quadrant, being a business owner, being a vice president, having a business and having income that comes in, reoccurring income that comes in whether they're working or not. And so here's a slide now that says if you develop 3 vice presidents that were making $100,000 and you were still building your business and you ran a base operation, you would become a senior vice president and you'd qualify for ownership and you'd get paid on all those offices that you develop. So in summary, now we're pretty well done. There's 2 more pages, actually 3 more pages, and they're fast, and it really gets to the point of our business model. And in summary, here's what makes us different. And you can take as long or as short on you want, but the first thing that makes us different is it's a part-time opportunity, that you could start part-time. And I really talk about that flexibility. They make their own hours. You can work as much or as little as you want. The second is the low cost of going in business for yourself. The fact that you can be in business for yourself and have all the support for $99 and 99 bucks and then 25 months, amazing. Number 3, that we have our warm market referral system, that not only are our clients going to give us names and referrals, but your new associates are going to want to introduce you to people they care about because of the way we do business. Number 4, the opportunity to become a vice president, that your vice president wants you to have their position. And more importantly, your opportunity to become a vice president that promotes vice president, where you could build financial independence for your family. Okay, so there's 2 more pages now, and this is where you're really going to get a sense of where their interest level is and what they're interested in most. And I would tell you on this page, take your time. Make sure they understand that there's 2 opportunities in Primerica. And it says, what interests you most, sales or leadership? Okay? So in the sales side, you're going to get your insurance and securities license. You're going to have the potential to earn great income on a part-time basis. You're going to help families as a financial coach. You're going to have a very flexible schedule. You're going to work when you want, right? And you're going to create your client base through our warm market referral system. And that's the sales side. That's the financial coaching, right? But the other side is the sales and leadership side. That's the program where you're focused on becoming a vice president and ultimately earning ownership. Now, to become a vice president, generally, we're going to help you to recruit and train and license about 8 to 10 people direct to you. And through those 8 to 10 people that we recruit for you and that you recruit and get licensed, they're going to recruit another 30 to 40. So you're going to have about 50 licenses. And if you have about 50 licenses in your business within the next 12 to 18 months, you're going to be, in most situations, ready for the vice president promotion. So now you go to vice president, you make your replacement, you build your licenses back up to 50. You're going to be at around $100,000 as a VP generally when you have that many licenses, and then you're going to work towards the 300,000 by promoting vice presidents and earning full ownership. So I'm curious, which of those two programs interests you more, the sales or the leadership? And wait for answer. And if you've done your job and you did your cash flow quadrant and you talked about building a business and investments that pay you when you're not working, and you've talked about time, money, and freedom, and you've talked about exchanging time for money versus building something that pays you whether you work or not, they will pick the leadership side, okay? And now you've got somebody thinking about building. You've got somebody thinking about recruiting. And so the next steps there, so then there's a question. And that is, if we offered you the opportunity to work with us on a part-time basis, can you think of any logical reason you wouldn't want to get started? So you're just going to ask that question. It's right there. And they're going to say, no, I can't think of any logical reason. Or they're going to bring up an objection, but you're going to deal with that. And they go, no, I can't think of any reason. Then you say, okay, there's 3 steps. 1, submit your independent business application with $124. We can do that today. Number 2 is we're going to start the licensing process. And number 3, we're going to start working to get you trained and help you sprint to district and earn your $300 bonus. So my question is, how quickly would you like to start earning money? And that's written right on the bottom of the page for you to read. So that's our little interview. And we've been working that thing, and man, are we having success. And now I want to share with you the ultimate kitchen table. Now here's what we did with it. It's just a little different. It's more product-oriented. It's more education-oriented. We've taken more of the concepts that are in the How Money Works book, and we've put them in there. And then, and basically on the back end of that, we've got all of the recruiting opportunity as well. So let me show you that. So when I start off with the front page, if you'll notice down in the far right-hand corner, the words referrals, earn your business, and expansion. Now, the reason they're there is to remind you, to explain to the people you're speaking to that we work through referrals where we'd love to earn your business and that we're in an expansion phase. So, so let me give you an example of how I would do that. So we're sitting down now. Generally, I use this presentation when my new associate has booked an appointment for help with their training. And that's, they said, hey, listen, I'm getting licensed with the state and I've got to witness some presentations. Would you be willing to help me out and listen to a presentation with my trainer, okay? And at worst case, if they get any pushback, we teach our associates, say, hey, listen, put your checkbook away. You can't buy anything. We're going to share with you what we're doing, and we'll be 30, 45 minutes, hour max, unless you got a lot of questions. Fair enough? And so we get a lot of appointments that way. Most people will see us under those circumstances. And when we sit down, we thank them, and then we kind of dig into the presentation. And I'll start off by saying, hey, so listen, really thanks for helping Jeff with his training. And generally, when I'm training somebody and their friends are helping with the training, you know, one of 3 things happens during this presentation, sometimes all 3. One is that you'll think of somebody that could benefit, and we'd love to earn your referrals. And those referrals would be for Jeff. Second is you may see some value for yourself. We're going to talk about finances, and we'd love to earn your business. If not, that's okay, but hopefully we'll be able to help you. And third is we're in a massive expansion phase right now. That's why Jeff's working with us part-time, and we're looking to build a business. We're looking to train and develop some other people. And we found that there are 5 reasons why people get involved in our business. So that's my little transition into potentially a recruiting opportunity. So one reason they get in our business is they dislike their job and they're looking for a way to change careers. Second reason is they love what they do, but they're always looking to earn more money. The third reason is they want to get a financial education. You know, we go to school. Now, folks, I do this every time. This is my go-to line. This is where I start to get on their side of the table, and I help them to understand I'm just like you. And I would say, we go to school, we get math, science, English, and history, but what course don't we get? Money and finance. We don't get taught about personal finance. So a lot of people get involved with us because they, as clients, they want to learn about money, and as associates, they want to come to work with us and learn about money and get all their licenses. The 4th group, they love helping people, and the 5th group, they've always had a desire to own their own business. So can you see where most people would be interested in at least one of these areas? And you can read that right on the page. And they're going to say yes, and then I always ask the question, so I'm curious, which of these would interest you most? I'm just curious, which of these would interest you most? And whatever they tell me, I've now converted that they're helping their friend into a real point. So if they say, well, I dislike my job, or I'm always looking to make more money, or, I love helping people, or I want my own business, we'll ask them some questions about that. And then I'm just going to say, well, great, here's what I'd like to do then. I know you're helping your friend and you're going to help them by asking a lot of questions, but at this point I want to show you what we're doing, and if you like it, I'm going to invite you to our office to learn more about the business. Is that fair enough? So if they show me any interest in making money, I'm converting this to an interview. Now, some of my guys, I'm going to tell you a little secret, some of my guys, what they do is if they show an interest in the business, they say, hey, would it be okay, instead of me showing you the client presentation, that I showed you our recruiting presentation? Would that be okay? And they switch. They actually go back to the interview because it's shorter, all right? But that's advanced, but I just wanted you to know a lot of us are doing that. But so now we get into the presentation, who we are, and I'm going to fly through this. I'm not going to be redundant. Who we are, the credibility of the company. We've done all this with no advertising. Everything we do is through word of mouth. That's a referral hit. This is your chance to continue to remind them we do business through referrals. World-class support. Now here's our home office where you can tell them a little bit about the more than 2,000 dedicated home office employees that are there to support our clients and reps. So I use that as credibility. We're a one-stop financial supermarket with home delivery. You can see that. The wheel that shows Primerica and all the companies we do business with, you can see that. Our mission statement, and then it's pretty much what you saw until we go to financial challenges. How real and serious are these problems? What company do you know that's helping Main Street? And people don't plan to fail. The F&A, we explain that. And then it answers a lot of important questions. And it takes us right into, do you know your financial independence number? So everything pretty much up to that point is what you've seen. And now we make a little bit of an adjustment. Now we move into some education. So what did we put in there? We put the 3 accounts you need. So we talked about the emergency fund, short-term savings, and long-term savings. You want to let people know we believe you need 3 accounts. Then we go to the next, bypass the middleman, become an owner, not a loaner. And I love this graph, but basically we have to be willing to say to people, look, when you give your money to the banks, the credit unions, and insurance companies, what do they do with our money once we give it to them? And let them say, well, they invested. Right, they invested. They lend it. They use it. They make money using our money. And let me show you why that's important. And that's where we do the rule of 72. And I love the rule of 72. And I've had people say to me, you got to do the rule of 72 every time. Look, I think it's one of the most important things you'll ever show anybody. So I do it in a very simple way, and we've set the graphics up where you can have them participate. And so when I do the rule of 72, I said, let's give you an example. Let's say you inherited 10 grand and you were 20 years old. And part of the inheritance is you had to invest that money, or you had to save that money. And you had to save it for 48 years until you were 68 years old. And let's just say you went and you put it down in the bank at 3%. So if you put $10,000 at 3%, what do you think that would be in 48 years? And I let them guess. And then I explain the rule to them, and then I show them that the answer is $40,000. So you left your money there for 48 years and you had $40,000. Now, what if you doubled the rate? So I go to them, what if you doubled the rate from 3 to 6? If you doubled the rate, what do you think happens to the money? And I've been doing that for 30 some odd years, folks. And they say, well, it doubles. I say, well, not really. If you divide 6 into 72, the answer is 12, and now your money doubles every 12 years, and you end up with $160,000, not 40. So you quadrupled your money. Okay, and then what happens if they invested and they were able to average 12? Okay, not that you could get 12, but what if you could have averaged 12? Now what would you guess that's going to be? And we go in and they'll never, and I'll just say you ought to double what you think and double it again, and they never guess $2.56 million. And then I read the questions that are on the right side. Hey, look, how do you win the game if you don't know the rules? And do banks or insurance companies have any incentive to teach you these rules? And who would benefit by knowing these rules? That's another referral hit. And shouldn't we have learned this rule in school? And without, at the bottom, if it's in red, it's to be read. Without you introducing us to friends and family, how will they learn this rule? I mean, if Jeff didn't bring me here tonight, would you have ever known this? And we're going to make sure they understand that we work through referrals. Then the pay yourself first and the cost of waiting page. And I know you're all familiar with that. And just for dramatic effect, we're going to go through that and ask the final question. Who are people hurting if they wait? We want people to understand, look, if you start saving at 25 years old and you're saving $200 a month and you're able to average 9%, you got $943,000. But if you wait 1 year, you got $83,000 less. If you wait 5 years or $12,000 and start saving when you're 30, you got $350,000 less. And if you wait till you're 40, you've got over 700,000. Who are people hurting if they wait? So we want people to understand the cost of waiting is high. And then we've got debt stacking that we put in there. And I'm so excited about where we're headed in the area of helping families with their debt. So we want to explain the debt stacking formula. And I know you all are very familiar with that, okay? And then the next area we go into, you saw it, the toaster. So we do the toaster story. We do the husband and wife, where the one individual, the gentleman, dies prematurely. What's that family going to lose? And what would happen if they had a plan? And then we're going to do the two options they've got when it comes to life insurance. And now we get into our familiar cash value life insurance, whole life, universal, and variable life, versus buy term, or reverse buy term and invest the difference, where we can really get in and show them the difference in details with a question at the bottom: which would you want? Then the theory of decreasing responsibility, which you're familiar with, and then the financial house, where we go through that house in detail to explain our philosophy. And for most people, when they see the house, it's the first time they get a full picture of the job that we do for families. And then we ask our closing question on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest: how would you rate your desire to become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent? And they say 10. And generally when people say 10, that means they want to know their numbers. So we're going to take a few minutes and gather some information from you to run your financial needs analysis for you. And that's where we would go in to the data collect for the financial needs analysis. So we're going to come back on a second appointment and present. Okay, so that's the presentation. But if you're there to recruit, it moves right into that, because the next page, now you could stop there, run the FNA, and you're done. Or if there's a great recruiting opportunity, you could continue. And now you're going to do the cash flow quadrant and show the rest of the slides is everything you saw, the before and after, the John and Mary, the compensation, the questions at the end of the interview, what interests you most, right? And if we offered you a position, is there any logical reason you wouldn't get started at least part-time, and how to get started. So in our presentation at the kitchen table, it's all in there. It's presenting to the client. You could stop. You can go further with recruiting. You can use it as a recruiting meeting. You can use this as a money seminar. I mean, this is so versatile, folks. You can use it in so many areas. So I am so excited that we have both of these presentations available for you to use and to train your people. And I look forward to working with all of you in the future to help you in any way I can. I love this company. I love what we stand for. And I love the fact that they always give us the tools to go win for our families. So good luck, and we'll see you at the top.